Welcome y'all to the Blackhoof Saloon, a Wild West Exodus podcast. Mosey on up to the bar and get yourself a bottle of firewater or a glass of sarsaparilla and listen to some good old yarns about adventures of law dogs, outlaws, and weird creatures. So set a spell, water your ride or your rider, and get ready to tune up your posses. This is the Blackhoof Saloon.
Howdy, 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 everybody. This is the Blackhoof Saloon, and we are live again tonight. This is Eric here. I got Brian with me so far, and Tom will be joining us a little bit later. Say hi, Brian.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the saloon.
All right. Well, I am going to give it a little bit of time for people to jump into the chat. We have multiple cameras going tonight because we are doing our first of our actual hobby night with our Posse Build Bonanza lists that we did over the last couple weeks. And this is part of the project that we wanted to do. Was we wanted to once we built the list in our traditional little powwow session and helped each other out, we wanted to do something where we get on here and we actually will build on it. You guys, we can give painting tips. You guys can give painting tips in the chat. We can make it more interactive that way. And let's see, I got to do some stuff here to switch around. As you can see, Brian's already doing some paint. So if you guys are painting, you can follow along. I have, as you can see, nothing on my desk yet, but a mouse. So I don't know how hard I'm working. Okay, yeah, I see us up on our page. Now I am going to try and watch our chat on my second computer here. I just got to click into the thing. Make sure the volume's low too. Okay, so I can see the chat. Alrighty. Do we have anybody in the chat yet? I can't tell, Brian. I got it open on two different windows. Yeah, if you guys jump in the chat, say hello, and then we'll know that somebody's here with us. Let us know if the sound is okay, if you guys can see everything okay.
Except when my knuckles are in the front of the camera.
Yeah, it's focusing on your big pelican in the back right now.
Well, I did have a cup that had words, and it tries to focus on words.
Oh.
Right? So it would like shoot off into the background.
I got to keep an eye open too for when Tom gets here, so he's not sitting in the green room forever. It sounds so official, don't it, Brian? The green room. We have a green room.
Right.
Okay, there's our first. Who do you think our first person is?
Benji.
Yay, it's Benji. Hello, Benji.
Well, Benji, if you have a camera, we could always throw you up in here.
Let me see if I can find a little. I'm looking for a star. I'm giving Benji a gold star for being the first one. If I can find one. There we go. Bloop.
Well, it's actually kind of cool because Benji also joined us in the new Posse hobbying, so he's already put together his new
Right.
Posse to join along.
Yeah, that was one of the things we wanted to do with this too. You know, you guys can watch us, you know, take the journey of building these posses from start to finish, and you can join in and do the same thing. Okay, this is the problem with having a couple computers open. I have people texting me. It's like, yeah, you can't come over right now. Well, you guys are going to get to hear my chewy Chewbacca because I forgot to turn it all the way down. Oh, Benji says, Brian, he's actually still trying to decide on those two lists that he worked up. If I remember right, he was doing something with the Union and I want to say Confederates. It's like one or the other. You want to talk about two sides of the coin, huh? Union and Confederates.
Yeah, so far you can't put those together.
No. Oh, he says between outlaws and Union. So he's actually using the outlaws. I think he was going to have a lot of Confederates in there because I know he likes the Blackhoof Scouts a lot.
Oh, me too.
I think I only have two of those. They're one of my
I got
favorite
4,
units.
I
I just don't have that.
2
many.
of them are custom.
Okay.
So because I didn't want a bunch all looking the same, I actually changed 2 of the riders. So one of them, I gave him a saber, and so he's basically the ranking scout.
Okay.
And I cut off the hood and gave him one of the it was a Union head, but of course you paint that cap gray.
Yeah. It's easy enough. That was a basic style for them in that world, right?
Right.
All right. And then let's see. Mac joined us. Hey, Mac.
Howdy, Mac.
So, Benji's running 6 Blackhoofs, he said. Now, Benji, are they in different units or is it the same, like in the same slot? And we'll see how long of a delay we got here. You know what? I'm just gonna, I have the thing open on a side window here, Brian. I think that's gonna work better than this laptop. I got too much going on in front of me, so. All right. I'm gonna put some stuff on my table here. Is what I am working. You're already applying color. I need to prime. So I did clean a bunch of models. They're ready. You know, I did we mentioned before, toothbrush, some mild dish soap, washed them a little bit. But I am doing a brush on primer. Like you mentioned, okay, Brian, it's too humid for you to use the spray on. But this is what
I've been brushing primer for ages. That's the only way I've ever done.
Like a brush, a dark color?
I tried spray once, and the humidity, it was just too hot. Actually, it was too hot. And being the first time spraying, I guess I was too far away. So as the spray was headed to the models, the particles were drying and landing, and it caused one of the 3 interceptors I was priming, I mean, it had a new texture. You know, I was like, yeah, that one's not working. So yeah, I haven't used it since.
I think the reason I started using this was that was part of the reason. For me, it gets like this time of the year, it's too cold. So if I have to do it in the house, it stinks up the whole house. If I do it out in the garage, I have to do it fairly quick and bring it inside so it dries right. So I actually switched to last winter doing the surface primer that I get from Vallejo. And this is a fairly big bottle. This is like a almost 7-ounce bottle. And it's like just under $15. I'm using gray. I have yet to experiment with like black, white. I mean, I've done, those colors with the spray on primer. So I kind of know what the look is that they'll give.
Mhm.
But I wanted to go kind of in the middle of the road with the gray. And I figured if I want it dark, I'll just base coat it black, which I think that is a color I left downstairs because I got a big old bottle of this in black. So I can just black bomb it. Okay, let me see. It says we got 2 new comments. This thing won't scroll on its own. Yes, Benji's asking brush on. Brush on, Benji. Oh, hey, look at that. One of my local buddies is here. Hello, Dylan. He stopped in to check out us doing our attempt at painting. Well, my attempt at painting.
Right. And and the painting is being done, but good luck seeing it. The camera is doing like all number of
Focusing. Yeah, right there it's on focus. I can see your wings good. What color is that you're basing that?
So this is somber gray from the Vallejo game color.
Okay.
I think that's what they call it. Not shadow. Shadow gray.
Those are nice colors. I like those paints. I've gotten a couple.
I call it somber because they always have both the what is that? The Spanish and the English names. So when I pull it out, I see one or the other name. But yeah, it's the shadow gray. So my plan was, because they're all, as their spirit animals, I decided that they all would have different eagles as their spirit. So Alcon, I'm going with a bald eagle. So I labeled it so I can remind myself. So when I'm working on one, I can pull up. I'll pull up actual markings like of the eagles, so I know, what pattern to do their wings.
Like a reference, picture reference, basically.
Right. So you see his hair, his feathers on his head are going to be white, just like a bald eagle. And then the rest of him, except for the tail, would be brown, like a dark brown, like so. But when the wings are separated and spread out, you'll see light colors in between the feathers. So that's what this is. So as I start putting in the darker markings, you'll see under those feathers in the gaps, it's going to be a little bit lighter. So right now I'm doing one of his daughters. The harpy eagle is a South American eagle, and it's pretty much a gray, but it's known for its crest on its head. So because this daughter has the weird, crest, I went with her as the harpy eagle. It's mostly gray, so it has very varied color. So I'll probably introduce some like darker blue grays, especially on the back of her wings. Uh, and then there's the Stellar's Sea Eagle, and they're brown and with white markings, but the white markings are just on the tops of the wings, both on the front and the back. And then they have obviously a white tail. Well, there's no white tails, so and the white underbelly. So because she has, the feathers on the legs will be done in white. And then she will be the gold eagle. The golden eagle is uh, one of the two North American eagles, the bald and the gold. The Stettler Sea Eagle is actually only in North America by way of sneaking in through Alaska.
Okay. I like
So
that.
I just did my research.
Yeah. Well, many artists, that's what they do. They do their research and get their picture references. And I really like the browns for the one. It's a nice brown.
It's kind of like how I did when I did my owl.
Uh-huh.
I kind of like find a pattern that I want to emulate.
That was a barn owl, if I remember right.
Yeah, I believe so.
But
I went with a lighter colored one for Tom's eagle or Tom's owl. When I did mine was a little bit darker. And the reason I just wanted to do them different, instead of doing just.
All right. Now I was thinking with us doing this kind of hobby hangout thing, Brian. Now the last couple episodes we've done where we were building these posses, we did turn them into audio format so you guys could listen to them in the stream. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that because this is more so like a visual type of thing. This will definitely show up on our YouTube channel. So if you guys missed some of it, you can either rewatch it in the Facebook page or go over to our YouTube channel and it'll be up in there eventually. I'll probably make a post when we put these up. I'm still actually converting our last live stream into audio where we built my enlightened posse. That's probably about halfway done. So hopefully with a couple days off here with Thanksgiving and the holidays, I'll get it done before the madness starts of the true holidays, Christmas. Everybody's ordering Black Friday sales like this week and Cyber Monday that, my days at work are going to get crazy. So I don't know how much time I will have when I get home from work. Let's see. Let's take a peek in the chat.
Although we do have another project that we're thinking of doing soon.
We do have another one in the works.
I made a purchase from Noble Knight Games. Thank you very much, Noble Knight. It's a U.S. based game store, and they were the first one that I was able to see online, having the new War Cradle Scenics bases in stock over on this side of the pond, so I didn't have to wait for the shipping. So as soon as I saw them pop, I was like, gonna have to buy some. So I bought a box of each. So this is the medium swamp and industrial. I have a box of the swamp and industrial smalls. Went ahead and got one of the Mason Frontier smalls. And the Mesa Frontier Town medium ones. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an unboxing. Not right now, but we're going to do an unboxing because I did open them already, because you need your toys. And so what I did was I immediately noticed they're amazing. And I haven't seen any other unboxing of these yet. And so I want to make sure and share what they look like, what comes in a box.
You got a lot in the box.
And what's that?
You got a lot in those boxes. So,
oh, dude, it is impressive. You'll see. One, it's the same boxes that we're used to in the Posses for Wild West Exodus and the Lost World Exodus detachment sets, where you pull the sleeve out and then you got a really nice box, and you're about to open it and probably enjoy what you're going to find. So I'm opening them and I'm literally like, wow. I think I immediately sent a message over to Tom and Eric and was like, these are amazing. you know. But yeah, so we're gonna do. Eric and I are probably gonna team up sometime this week and you know chat over me showing these off. That way we can put that up and share that with you guys.
Then you guys can see kind of in better detail what they look like, and you can decide if you want to get a gazillion bases for basically
right.
for like a full force, right?
Well, it for people who have a large collection, this is a great opportunity to literally, if you were not happy with your previous basing, this is definitely a way of really stepping up your basing. And the logistics of it is not everyone is going to have a collection that will need as many bases that I just bought.
Yeah.
I probably among the few that having one each isn't really a detriment because I have a lot of models, and some of my previous basing, were just kind of, winging it with whatever I had. I do think my Happy Seppuku stamp bases, I think, are a step up. So I probably won't be replacing a lot of those bases.
Yeah.
Because they're already really good.
Yeah, I think that company went out of business too. So I don't think they're producing anymore. You could probably still find some of those stamps.
Yeah, they did. They I don't know if it was COVID related, but it happened during.
Yeah. They were a small business. So they were originally a Kickstarter, starter business. And I think I have one of their sets and I love it. The only other company I can think of that makes pretty good stamper type stuff like that is it Green Stuff World, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, Green Stuff World. They have the rolling pin stamp. They've been around for a while, so they have quite a bit bigger variety.
Yeah.
And because it's a acrylic rod, I think their basing is a little more crisp compared to the Happy Seppuku, which is all rubber, and so pressing and stuff. I don't have any of those.
It's a UK based, I think, company.
Yeah, but I was I guess teasing the idea of getting a couple of them, but I never bit the bullet and got one.
Press the button.
Yeah. Now, theoretically, if I did, I would get probably one of the temple ones.
Yeah.
I know our buddy James Wapple has a couple of those rollers, and so he's used them. So I've seen him on some of his videos use them, and so I think that would be really cool for my order.
Oh yeah, it's kind of almost a perfect thing, perfect
Right.
match for the order.
So I can see me maybe it's getting that eventually and then completely redoing all my order bases to something like that. I just haven't because I'm using a Happy Seppuku Swamp forest, so it's not really themed with the Kokoroli, but it doesn't.
Let's see. Benji, Outlaw Confederates list. I'm going to run Zambu with Quantrill. He wants Stone Cold Killer for a snake. He's actually asking a question too. So he says, if William Quantrill had a snake, what kind would you make it? He's thinking a copperhead.
What I would do is look up copperhead and water moccasin. Both of those are south,
yeah,
southern snakes in this area, so you couldn't go wrong with either one of them. And you really just want to see if you could find a really cool pattern. So I would just do a Google or your favorite search engine search for, water moccasin skin or copperhead. Either one of those would make sense for him to have, you know, as a pet, or even if you wanted to trick out his bike with a snake skin saddle.
Make his boots snake skin too.
Right.
Yeah, and he's also asking, what would the personalized Nazambu be named? I don't know. What would you name his big giant snake?
I don't know.
Fluffy.
Oh,
I'm trying to think. What was that name? I'm thinking the Snake and Jungle Book. Was that Ka? Can name him Ka. Okay, I got Bloody Bill kind of primed. What else do we got in there? Spain. I'm assuming Spain is that's when we were talking about Green Stuff World. So many good ones. So somebody liked my greeting for the hobby work night, because I said howdy bush rangers.
yeah.
Daniel loved bush rangers. Yeah, I did that for Tom. So when he comes in here, I'm going to tell him, just for you, buddy. All right, so let's prime a hexalith now. So I got 4 portals too, Brian. I just got my new ones yesterday in the mail. So I forgot I had a blister of the old ones. So I got 2 old ones and 2 new ones.
Cool.
I'm trying to think, what do I paint them? What's a good color for Enlightened? I mean,
so you have 2 of the old portals.
Yep.
So the ones that look like the all shard portal.
Yeah. The little
if you don't want those and you want a uniformed, I will swap them with my plastic ones.
Oh,
because
man.
I already have 4 of the all shard ones, and I would much prefer more all shard ones.
Mm-hmm. Man, I thought these old ones would go good with the Enlightened, with the bottom being like it is, kind of goes with the theme of Enlightened.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I just don't know what color to paint them. My instinct is to go reds.
What, the swirl?
Yeah. But red's
That
so,
would make sense.
I mean, it makes sense with the RJ and all the guys have, I do a lot of my enlightened with RJ glow.
Yeah.
But it's almost
I
like,
mean, because they're clear, those will be the easiest because you can
yeah,
just use like red washes and then just hit the top,
I was thinking
edging.
the contrast paints that GW
Yeah,
has.
yeah, and then use your fluorescent orange and just hit the tips of all the swirls after the contrast, and then so now you've highlighted the RJ kind of
Yeah,
aspect of it,
yeah,
and then do the same with the non clear ones. It's just
like
prime
white
it gray,
or gray. Yeah,
or prime white. If you have a white primer, prime them white, and then hit them with the contrast and do the same. I mean, they won't look identical, but most people get the gist.
yeah, yeah. Mac said maybe go with an orange yellow blend,
Yeah,
something different, because the red seems like it's a go-to color if you're making a glowy, something. Don't want a blue because that's order mainly is blue.
well, that's what my portals
Um,
are. Very
green
much the blue glowy spirit portal.
green tends to go with the watchers a lot. I'm probably gonna do, if I do any for the watchers, do purples. I can experiment, I guess. See how I like it. Because the contrast paints are a good way to go. The way that stuff, I don't even know how to describe it. Contrast paints are, I don't want to say they're like inks because they're not. Yeah, it's hard to explain how they interact. I've only
Yeah,
had a
I
little
don't
bit.
have any. I haven't tested them, but I've seen videos where people have said that they make for quick, uh, quickly getting to a table ready.
Yeah. Yeah, you know where I found those portals? In my trunk. I haven't talked about that in a while. My trunk of old blisters from first edition.
Nice.
That when I saw them on sale, I snatched them up.
So I have a box of unbuilt Wild West Exodus still that I just haven't gotten to, and it's I want to say at least 4 or 5 sprues of hands.
Oh, I was going to ask you if it was a bunch of hands. Yeah, I got a couple of the big vehicles in there that I got them, but I just never had a need for them. The only big vehicle I've ever built was the Doomsday, and I barely used it with the Enlightened. I always ran out of points for it before I could get to it. But I do got a fire truck. The fire truck's pretty cheap. That's usually a bit easier.
Yeah, I keep seeing them here and there. And I'm like, do I go ahead and get it? So yeah, so each of the sisters are going to have different colors. Um, so this is the base color of turquoise that I'm going to go with for her because she's going to be a bluey gray. I wanted to offset that with a instead of red, which is a traditional war color for uh,
Yeah.
my other warrior nation models. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go with turquoise in the cloth and a lot of her little trinket bits. And then each of the others will have a different color that they're going to have as in their theme. But I'm going with a scurvy green as the under the base of the green. And I'll build it up to turquoise. Although it's a little brighter than I thought, so I don't know if it didn't mix well enough.
Let's see. Benji says he's a flame truck believer. I knew that, Benji. I know you like that fire truck. So Dylan wants to know how painting on those clear type minis work. Can you still get the clear visage with the paint? You can, because it kind of works like a what's the term? Like a transparent paint, right? Transparencies or whatever they call it. Almost kind of like a glaze. It's like you're glazing, right, Brian? I mean, I know you don't have much experience with the those GW paints, but that's basically how you would paint these clear things. Is you're doing it in a thin layer that it's given that tint, but you still can kind of get the see-through look. Oop, I think Brian. Let's see. I think Tom's ready. There we go. Well.
What's that?
Look who's in the house.
Howdy, Tom.
What's going on?
Benji also wants to know, Brian, how you're basing your big birds, your bird ladies.
Okay, well, I will be picking one of those.
You got enough of them now, right?
Yeah. So one of them will get that one because that was one of my favorite. There's 6 to choose from, so
What?
I haven't really
He's on the phone with Katie.
haven't decided which one each is going to get because I haven't started cutting them out yet. I want to do an unboxing sometime this week with Eric. So once I do that, then I'll just decide. So all 4 of them will get one of the new Mesa bases. And
Well, it makes sense. You want to stay in that theme with the Warrior Nation, the planes and right?
Yeah. So some of my other Warrior Nation models I did basings for. I did something similar to like this kind of treatment. I just get cork.
That's a cork, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a cork sheet. And I did the same on this base. I just layered them, right? Instead of just one layer, I built it up on a couple of different before I put her down. And you just sculpt, you just kind of scratch off different levels of it,
Yeah.
and you can do a bunch of different things. Some of the cork bases they turn out like really, really nice. So once I found some, let's see if I have any others nearby I can show you. Some of my vehicles I put on these bases. Right, so here's just a vehicle, but the vehicle is so big, there's nothing really else I can do.
Yeah.
It's for my sand buggy. So
Okay.
there wasn't anything else I was going to do to this base, just because there's no much room.
Yeah.
So after I paint, I'll probably put a couple of tufts here and there, maybe some scatter gravel. but there's not a whole lot else to do. So it's just
Do a base like, who was it that you did the base where he's standing over a fallen watcher trooper? Make the buggy running over a bug.
well, I don't think I did it. I mean, it's the base it comes with.
Oh, that's right. It does. You didn't kit bash that. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't kit bash that. That just happens to be the base he comes with. And it doesn't have, it's not a full base. It's just the little dude, right? I know Tom just bought this model, so he could probably show you what
one?
comes in the kit. But it's basically just a sheath for the tip of his sword. It's not a full base. So I embedded it into the seppuku stamp. So I did a stamp and then just pressed him into the mud. So it looks like he's, sinking in the swampy mud.
Oop, I ran out of primer.
That's all right. I can't even join. Hold on.
So here's
guys
another
hear me?
example.
Yeah,
of
we
a
can hear
cork.
you now.
All right.
Another example of a cork base. So instead of just one flat, I put in some secondary.
Give it some layers that way.
Right. In progress. This was like last year. Someone did like a challenge to finish a model, and this is the model I started.
He picked a pretty intense one to work on.
Yeah, it was like wasn't it last Halloween or something?
Think
I don't
so.
know. I remember you encouraged me, "Oh, go big, go do him," and then I just was the flamey spirit flamey thing. I was just doing it in multiple layers, so you would be shocked. Well, okay, Daz would not be shocked at how many layers that took. Using the fluorescent oranges.
It's looking good though.
It
Just
took
a lot of work.
It takes a lot of layers. So see this is this wing, if it just would stay in focus, has a lot more layers than the other wing. So
Yeah.
that's why you see it's a little more punch. So that's the fluorescent oranges that I used. So like this needs more layering, lots and lots of layers, because those paints are very transparent.
Yeah.
So unless you mix them with another paint, they you're going through a bunch of layers.
Eric, you're onto painting already too?
I'm priming.
Oh man, I'm still assembling.
That's what we're supposed to be doing tonight, dude. Break your paint out, boy.
I got to change over a lot.
I'm still building them. I'm kneading my green stuff together right now to fill gaps.
My many of my widowers need new bases. They're still first edition. I have 5 newer ones that I could just build from scratch, so I don't have to bust them off. But I do new.
What the hell? Why is my phone being sideways?
There you go.
There we go.
It's because you're sideways. Nope, I'm just priming. Tom, I had to fix one of mine from yesterday when she dried in the green stuff base I made for her. She dried like this, where she was leaning back. I was like, man, it looks like she's going into a strong wind.
So for anyone who's new and doesn't know what green stuff is, this is it right here. It starts off like this.
Yeah, 2-part putty.
2-part. Yeah, there's a blue and a yellow, and you just sort of knead them together until it turns into green stuff. And you can use this to fill gaps, to like Eric said, he made a base out of it. You can stamp into them, all sorts of good uses for it. But it's basically a two-part. What is it? An epoxy?
Yeah, it's an epoxy.
Yep.
What did I do with her? Oh, she's behind my water.
So, and you can do it to fill
So there's hers.
things in. Like, for example, I've got a really bad gap right there in this gun that I put together. So,
Yeah.
gotta put that all, fill in the gaps before I start priming.
Yeah, she looks straight now. But too bad I just primed this one. I don't know. You can kind of see where I didn't prime it. You can see some of the greens sticking out. And the way I sculpt it, I kind of make it look like rocks, or, it's just kind of the way the land goes. And the nice thing about the green stuff, like me and Brian were talking about the rubber stamps and all that stuff. You put some of that stuff down in your base and use one of those stampers, and you got instant whatever you're doing. Like Bloody Bill's here. His base is actually a stamp that it's all green stuff, but I have a like a bayou swamp stamp. So it looks like there's ferns on the base and sticks and stuff like that.
Now, Brian, I know you've got some Happy Seppuku ones. Are there other companies that make those stamps? Because I know Seppuku went out of business, I think.
I want to say there were others. I went with Happy Seppuku, but I think I want to say there was one or two other that did something similar, like it, rubber stamps. So their first gen stamps were about like this size, and
I got it here.
and then they did a special one. I bought this one at Adepticon,
I like
and
that one.
a super sized, and this is the mine shaft, I guess they call it, the ruins mine shaft. So it has, some mine cart tracks and some debris and stuff, but it's huge. So not because you're going to make a huge base with this, but it's so when you're, doing a collection of models, you can have a unifying base, and they're not all going to be the same, right? So when you have a base this size or a stamp this size, there's not a whole lot of variations, right? See, these yellow marks are all the different times I used my epoxy. I have a yellow epoxy mix. It's light green stuff, but it's just yellow and gray. So those are all the different stamps that I did. And you just move it slightly to one side or another, and you get a different variation. But with a stamp this big, I mean, it's endless possibilities on the variety. And then this is another one I have. This is, I think, the one that Eric has. It's the one with the stumps and the ferns.
There you go.
Yeah, it's their forest stamp. So this one is, as you can tell, is my most used. It's what I use for all my order. The mine shaft one is the one I've used for my my union that I use those for. I use them for my Infernal Investigations posse.
Well, there we go. Mac's giving us a link for a company that does stuff.
Oh, cool. I will
With
check that out.
direct basis. Max.
We talked earlier, the Green Stuff World, they have a roller type of stamp, and they're acrylic rods, and you do the same. You roll out. I think Wapple has a video of how those work that I've seen before.
Ooh.
So what's been going on tonight? I know I came into this a bit late.
This?
That's it? Just everyone's quietly.
Yeah, we're trying to be vocal. We talked a little bit about, hopefully, I'm going to try and make this into an audio, but it's more of a visual thing. So
Right.
it will be on the YouTube channel for sure.
Yeah, I tried to get my hands on some liquid green stuff.
I get that, and it dries out so fast on me.
Yeah.
It turns
How
into
does it work before it dries out?
pretty good. You can kind of apply it like a paint. You can use water to thin it a little bit.
Right.
But because of the nature of those GW pots, yeah, I think it just dries out too easy.
Yeah, I miss the old GW paint pots that if you can get your hands on, you can still get paint in them today that hasn't dried out. Those are the old original pots, though.
Yeah. Like this one. I mean, this isn't too old.
Older
Older than that.
with white tops.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any that old. Oh.
Apparently, there's a company, I think it's a French company, that still makes those old paints. I've heard mixed things.
There is Mac.
Coat d'Arms, right?
Mac is in the chat. He knows it, I think. Mac, what's that company that makes that old paint?
I believe it's Coat d'Arms is the name of it. I've heard some people say they are exactly the old paints. I've heard others say that they're actually not. I don't know the truth of it. I haven't tried them. But apparently a lot of people are after that old goblin green.
Yeah. I think the Bestial Brown, I don't know if they still make that or make something like it, but I know that was another popular one. Their Dark Flesh was one that I used to use all the time because I loved it for leather, leather belts and whatnot for my Wild West Exodus. But it was a sad, sad day when that dried up on me. And Wild West Exodus with all their belts and buckles.
Well, it's a sad day every time paint dries up because it's really bad containers. When you look at those old containers and that paint's still good 30 years later, then you look at these new containers and paints are dried. I've had paints dried out when I've bought them new.
Yeah.
Open them up and they're dried out.
Max said, yeah, Coat d'Arms. So you were right, Tom.
Most of these went together pretty decently. Not needing to do a ton of gap filling. This one needs it.
So what ones are you still working on?
Oh, these are still the Divine Intervention posse I put together during your stream.
Okay.
I just never got around to filling gaps on them. So, like I said, I was trying to get a hold of liquid green stuff because I wanted to see how that does. I don't love working with green stuff. So I was like, oh, one that I can paint into the cracks and water down.
Yeah, that's what I kind of liked about the liquid stuff too. But like I know, similar to what you said about the paints, that's what happened to me with that liquid stuff. I bought one brand new, came home, opened it, and it was solid inside.
Oh,
And I'm like, this ain't very liquidy. But luckily, my local store let me just swap it out for a new one. That one was better. It wasn't perfect, but it was better.
well, I was reading that, it is very kind of gummy and chunky, and it's supposed to be, but that you can add some water to it and it goes into the cracks pretty nicely then, but that it also shrinks when it dries.
Yeah,
So you have to kind of do multiple coats of it.
Boop.
Whoa, get in there.
Yeah, see these guys, my basing on these, I like using wood chips that I get out of the yard or whatnot, or the Michael's, Hobby Lobby. You go in their floral section, you can get bags of this stuff.
The
And
local playground.
yeah, local playground. Kids are playing in the playgrounds right now anyway. And I glue it to the bases, and once I prime it and start painting it, it'll look like like sandstone or big chunk of a rock. Kind of similar to what you would do with that cork, Brian. When you paint it, it looks like a big rock.
Right.
Have you guys ever checked out any of those hobby crates, those monthly subscription crates? I was looking at one today. It looked pretty interesting.
Hobby.
Instead of
I don't know if I've seen those, Tom.
instead of getting like a miniature a month or anything like that to paint, there's one that you can get, and they send you different basing materials and different paints to try out, and they give you two little tiles that don't really do anything. They're not bases and they're not anything else, but with tutorials on how to paint those tiles to learn different painting techniques. I was looking at it today. I was like, this looks kind of interesting. But it's based out of the UK, so it's a little expensive shipping wise for my taste. But not too expensive. It's like $20 a month. You get, 4 or 5 bottles of paint, and they've had Army Painter, they've had P3, some Reaper, a couple other companies I hadn't heard of. Coat to Arms, there's one, depending on what they send that month. So just thinking about giving that a try.
And Mac mentioned a paint that I want to get. It's one he uses called Pro Acryl by Monument Hobbies.
Yep.
And those paint bottles are bigger than what the Army Painter bottles are. They come with an agitator in it. And the tops are, I can't remember now, if they're like Army Painters or if they're more like your classic Elmer's glue type top.
Okay.
So it actually seals up better, that it doesn't dry out on you.
That's what Zach from Zombie Brush uses now.
Got a high pigment count in it for the colors, so a lot of the colors look very vivid. That's on my Christmas list, Mac. Wink, wink.
So have you guys heard or paid attention to, I'm assuming that Adepticon's canceled again this year?
I have been paying attention, and they have not had any kind of formal post about it, regarding if it's going or not.
Right.
Last time they posted was back in, I think, September. and it was nothing about, one for this year.
Right.
I, being that it's already almost end of November, we usually sign up for, entrance badges and stuff and hotels and stuff during this month. So I am assuming that it's not going.
That is a shame.
It is. I mean, they kind of last year got screwed that everything hit the fan like weeks before it was supposed to go.
Right.
And now it's just like nobody really knows what's going on with this through this winter. So it's like, why do all that work?
Right. So what are we doing for cons if we're allowed to?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Gen Con either yet.
PAX Unplugged is obviously kaput. I think they may
that would have
try to do
been
something.
what, next week or something, I think, usually.
Yep. That's disappointing for me. That's the easiest one for me to get to.
Yeah, so that's how I feel about Adepticon. It's 30 minutes for me. We were gonna have a slumber party.
It would have been awesome. Hold on a minute.
Let's see. Yeah, Max said that Elmer glue type top on those paints.
That's interesting. That it doesn't clog up. It doesn't dry up in there.
No.
That's kind of awesome.
He's going to tell Mary what I want for Christmas. Damn. Let's see. Benji wants to know if we have any Wild West Exodus models on our Christmas list. Well, seeing as I just bought a bunch for this project, I don't know if I do now.
Yeah.
I do need to get Mr. Ears now, since I got the Posse.
Yeah, there's nothing I'm really.
I do.
What's on your list, Brian?
Well, kind of like because of this project, there's a lawman legendary that I would have bought already, but because of this instead of buying those, I bought these. So I'll put legendary Morgan.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
he's going to be on the list. Mr. Ears is on the list. And
you got Teddy already, right?
Yes, I do have Teddy.
Okay.
That's probably one that should be on my list.
I still don't have that.
For those who want to see Teddy, here's Teddy. And his mount.
I'm going to try and make you... Whoop, there we go. Now people can see it nice and big.
So this is Teddy. He's still on the pill bottle, so he's in progress. He's not quite done.
How many pill bottles do you have? It seems like you always have a lot of things in progress at once.
Well, for those who are curious.
Yeah, it looks like he raided the
CVS.
Yeah. That or Brian's a very sick man.
There's some hidden gems inside there. There's a certain Doc Holliday. There's some that are already finished. These are the ones I refer back to for whatever reason. Some are done, some are just I put up there for whatever reason. And some of the models down here are for reference, like, I've already finished, but I'll pull them down just so if I want to take a look at somebody, or
match their colors and stuff.
like Helena, she's there because I was working on Tom's Helena and wanted to, as a reference to how I did the, blast effect. So yeah, I've got some models.
She's got a couple.
In progress. But what's funny is some of these models have been in progress for a while. Like amongst this group are both the Deadly Seven and Wayward Eight, which obviously I bought those when they first came out. But that summer, every month there was new stuff, right? So it was like the Wayward Eight came out. It was like, ooh, insta buy. Then the Deadly Seven came out. Ooh, insta buy. And then it was like shortly after that, it was like we got the Infernal Investigations. Oh no, the Divine Intervention. I was like, ooh, insta buy.
So,
and then before I could finish, and every time I would, I'm going to work on these new ones. These are awesome. I can't not work on the Divine Intervention. The Order was one of my favorite factions, so I immediately started painting them. And then before I could finish them, the Infernal Investigations came out, and of course, everyone knows Jedi Pal. They know that I had to table them and jump into Infernal Investigations. So it was like that summer was like boom, boom, so many things one after the other that I tabled a bunch of stuff, and I just never got back to them because the other stuff kept popping in.
Right. Well, you don't have to buy everything.
Well, obviously, there are stuff that I have not bought that people. Hey, there's a question. If anyone watching knows something that I do not have, post up as a guess what you think I might not already have. And if someone can name something that I don't, then I might put it on my Christmas list.
You don't have Ranger Showboat because you need that there Calamity Jane.
Right. I do not have that Posse box, but I have every model in there but Jane, obviously. Yeah.
Right. Same here.
So if someone has a spare Jane, let me know.
Why would anyone ever have a spare Jane? Like, I really wish that sometimes you could get some of these individuals. Like, I'd love to get the new what's his face? Virgil Earp. Because it's a really nice model. It's really cool. It's much better than the original. I mean, I have the original, but I really like the new sculpt. But I have no use at all for a meat grinder posse.
Right.
And so,
well, see, that one's an easy one. If you know someone who hasn't jumped into the Enlightened, someone buying 2 meat grinders to mass up their hands is cheap. Right. That's a cheap way to just go. That's a cheap way to go. And then, but you'll have an extra Kyle and an extra Virgil, basically.
Right.
So yeah, I'm surprised there's not more eBay offs for
like a third party type of thing. When you see like a lot of those places that buy those blind boosters for D&D minis, and they break them up and just sell the minis by themselves. You don't see that with tabletop miniature skirmish games where they buy up one of those big old like army boxes, those $200 GW starter things they have. And I never see them broken up on eBay.
I've seen it done with Crisis Protocol.
Okay.
That's the only thing that like recently comes to mind where I've seen that done. And actually, I think it might have been on Gadzooks that I saw it.
Sorry, Benji said, "Embraced it, enlightened, Tom."
No, no, never gonna happen.
They just want hugs. I tell you, they just want hugs.
They're too icky.
Too icky.
Same thing with the hex.
What is icky about that guy? Here, I'm highlighting my own.
Sorry, Eric, but you like an icky faction.
Look at him. See, he's got his arms open. He's ready
Yeehaw.
to give a hug.
You know, sometimes they say all anyone's looking for is some love, but they don't deserve any.
Better on the medium base.
Yeah, they do actually. You can do fun stuff with the bases with that size. And with those guys being skirmishers, you can really spread them out.
Yep.
Bleh. Like that? I just went bleh. Right in his face.
Man, brushing on primer is a pain in the neck.
Takes a while, don't it? I'm using a fairly big brush to hold a lot of it, but it's a stiff brush, so I can kind of get it all in there. And
Right.
but yeah, it does take a lot longer.
The weather has just not been cooperating for spray.
We've been getting rain the last couple of days here, and actually, was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. I woke up to snow on the ground.
Wow.
It was gone by like 10 o'clock, but
Yeah, but that's just a harbinger of things to come.
oh yeah.
You know, it's times like this, I'm glad I can work from home.
Yeah, looks like Mary's going to be home till at least, I think they told her June now.
Wow.
June.
Yeah, it keeps getting pushed back for her. They're like, we're in no hurry.
That's what my work's told me. They've said no hurry at all. They started letting a few people in on a volunteer basis, and now they may be telling them, nah, go home. So we'll see what happens. We've got some crazy things going on as far as the COVID is concerned in my area. They shut down the sale of alcohol for one night only.
That sounds like that should be the other way.
To tonight, because the reasoning was that the day before Thanksgiving is a huge day for people to drink and swap fluids.
Oh, geez.
That was what the actual report that came out said was. And I sat there going, so they stopped selling at 5 and it's going to go through whatever time tomorrow. And so we went to the liquor store and there was a line out the door just to get into the liquor store. And I just thought, well, this is the dumbest thing ever, because you had to know there was going to be a run on the liquor store.
Yeah.
So, yeah, one day of prohibition in my state.
Makes no sense.
It makes none at all. But it is
Tyranny seldom makes sense.
yeah, it is an interesting side note to all the crazy that goes on.
Dylan,
I'm actually technically in quarantine right now.
Different factions. Do you want to know what factions we're working on, or like the different factions in the game? if it's what we're working on, I am working on Enlightened. Tom's working on Order, and Brian is working on Warrior Nation. So I have the Frankenstein monsters. Tom has armored, I guess, like you have the Space Marines, basically. And then Brian's got the Native Americans in the game. Okay, he wants to know in the game.
All of the factions in the game?
Yeah, so how many do we have in there?
Well, there's Union,
Okay.
there's Law, there's Order. Law and Order, that's why I always remember those two.
Bong bong.
There's Enlightened and Hex. I always remember the two of them together because they're both gross and creepy. We've got Outlaws, Warrior Nation, Watchers. I forget anything? I mean, inside
There's
of
some
Outlaws,
classes in Hex, like the Dark Nation, and in the
Yeah,
Outlaws, you had the Conquistadors and the Mexican Golden Army, Banditos. And I mean,
there's a lot of sub factions within there.
yeah. You want to know what we were working on, so too.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm working on Enlighten, which are the kind of like the mad scientist in the world that create a bunch of undead monstrosities. Like here's my boss, that's a big spider guy.
They're creepy crawlies.
Creepy crawlies, and I got like cyborg type guys, like Bloody Bill here's got some enhancements on his arms. I got a Ghostbuster. So they're a lot of science based. Brian's is pretty straightforward. Warrior Nation are the Native Americans in America that have embraced, some of them have embraced the spirit animals. And then Tom's got the Order, which are, I don't even know how to explain Order. They're kind of elite beings that are fighting the Hex and other tainted beings.
They're the good guys.
They're the good guys. And then lawmen are kind of pretty basic. That's where you have your Wyatt Earp and his other like sheriffs and deputies from like history. And outlaws are kind of the same thing. You're getting Jesse James and Billy the Kid, but they have the sub factions of the Banditos and Conquistadors and a lot of mercenaries. So your guns for hire. The Watchers are basically aliens, so we can play cowboys and aliens. What else did I miss? Hex are all your kind of, how would you explain Hex? They are, some of them are possessed, some of them are like mutated, I guess would be a good term. They're mutated.
I feel like the real creepy side of things that were more towards Enlightened in the first edition went to Hex, and that includes the Dark Nation and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of that kind of not reincarnated creepy crawly stuff kind of went to them.
Yeah, more of the creatures.
Right.
So all your werewolves and the Wendigo and
Whereas Enlightened kept all of the science-based stuff.
yes. Betterment of man through science.
So I will say One of the things I have found interesting about Enlightened is that I like a lot of their scientist guys. It's just all the constructs and stuff that I don't like. So just from a model standpoint, I always thought like Carpathian was really cool looking. Vlad Ursel, the Kaufmans, the two little ninja girls. I always thought they were pretty cool.
You don't like Creation 7?
I don't really like any of the creations.
Man, it broke my heart. That particular model, Creation 7, was like one of the first models I saw in this game. Walk around Adepticon many, many years ago. And that's what drew me in. I was like, what is that beast? And that was like the first model I bought and painted. And yeah, so that's what drew me in. Not really knowing anything about the game. I was just like, the model, drew me in.
I know that that's a favorite of a lot of people.
I mean, he's got
you're not the first person
a blowtorch, a buzzsaw, and a Gatling gun, and what's his other arm? I'm blanking.
His other one just holds an ice cream cone.
That would be awesome. We got ice cream.
That's how they tempt people to their side. We have RJ, which lets us have refrigeration.
Yep.
So we have ice cream.
I need to kit bash a creation to have soft serve in his chest.
That would be awesome. That would be fantastic.
Some RJ soft serve.
No, not Creation 7. Was it Creation 13? He's got the two chest canisters.
Oh my God! Connect them so that you can have vanilla and chocolate and twist.
Yeah.
Vanilla in one and chocolate the other.
Oh my God! Everyone would have to go play Enlightened then.
Oh man. Well, Benji, if you're still on here, I think I know what's on my list now for Christmas. I don't have him. I didn't get his posse because what posse is he in? It's one of those Enlightened ones. Was he in the Countess?
Yep. Galvanic Mysteries.
That's right. I think he's the only one. Well, him and the one other creation in that. Those are only two in that whole posse set.
Yeah, there's a female creation with like swordy arms.
Yeah. Everything else in that box I had. So then again,
that's one of the boxes I bought that I don't know. Actually, they're not even on the table.
Didn't you have a mispack in one where you got like doubles of something? I thought it was that one.
It was missing somebody.
Oh no! I just broke my sword.
And they had to send me a.
Damn it!
And I want to say it was one of the new creations that was missing.
Yeah.
Well, I think the best mispack I had was when I got Nakano Gozen, and instead they gave me a Hexalith.
Oh yeah, that's right. It wasn't even the right model.
It wasn't even close.
No, okay, so no, I think I did because my the first few Infernal Investigation boxes that they shipped out had a miss. They basically gave you 2 extra 2020s and Jedricks, and you didn't have Helena. So they sent out a lot of fixes, right, before they could capture those boxes and make them right. So I did. I got.
Is that
So I
why
had.
you had?
So that's why I took the extra Jedrick and made one with batons. You want
Now,
to throw that up? People would
Did
see
you
it.
have any? Did you have any Jedricks from when it was first put out in 1E, or did it not come out in 1E?
What's that?
Did Jedrick ever come out in first edition, or only?
No.
No.
So Jedrick was, I'd begun discussing with Romeo because that Adepticon before he sold was the Adepticon that got me enough of the outlaw version of the deputies, uh, got me the points, right? So in that version, or in their war host, they were called the deputies. If you got to a certain point level, you were able to collaborate with Outlaw and create a model. It was kind of like the highest tier of the deputy program at the time. And working that Adepticon hit me to that point, right? That got me to the 500 points that you needed.
Gotcha.
So we had just started discussing a new model. And then by that October of that same year, they were selling.
Gotcha. I
So
think I knew about it because you and I used to talk, like when I was driving home from work.
right, and we, that was the year we ended up working on Adepticon together.
Yep.
So I'd already started working on the idea, and then obviously as part of the purchase, those type of things were passed on. So Stuart knew about it, and so he said, "Hey, we can start discussing it." So we eventually started. Obviously, it wasn't immediate, so it took some time for the discussions on what. Right, that year we did the whole transition to the new game was happening. So
Yep.
obviously my model wasn't discussed in those early stages until after the year was up, and they started, exploring other things. So
Gotcha.
the original idea, he was supposed to be a cross faction lawman and order.
Gotcha.
But then with the changes to the order in the new game, that was some of the discussions with Stuart. That's when it became, well, we're building a posse around a female boss, and we want to use Jedrick. How about Jedrick being the grizzled old veteran in that posse?
Gotcha.
And Stuart came up with the idea for the for 2020, or I guess that was one of the things they also wanted in that group.
Right. Can't believe I just broke this sword off. Dummy.
Yeah, don't do that.
Can you salvage it?
We'll see.
Let's see. I thought I saw another question.
It's too thin to pin it.
Dream list for Wild West Exodus for 2021. Is there anything that we want to see come out? I guess stuff that's been teased like a while back, whether it was art.
Dylan Callis, the order posse that they teased.
Yep, I was just gonna say that.
What's the one that we heard about a long time ago? Veterans of the
Taint.
no.
No, that's Dylan Callis's posse. The Hunters of the Taint.
Isn't there like a Veterans of the Ore War?
Yes, and the leader is a female power suit.
Like general,
So-
wasn't she?
Yep, she was in the Confederate.
What else have we got teased? Stuff that may be getting changed over to Lost World, I think. Like I know they teased Celestial stuff a long time ago. And
Right. So what do they call them? I can't remember the name. Everyone refers to them as the Thundercats.
Yeah. I mean, like the Ghostbuster, they were going to be regular, and they got, made to be part of Lost World.
Yeah. No, I mean that I actually think that is kind of neat the way they did that. So instead of adding a bunch, it just makes more sense in the new dystopian age merger
Mm-hmm.
to do it that way. Because what they were going to do is they were going to add, other countries into Wild West Exodus and just have Wild West Exodus be a global game. But it makes much more sense to do these pocket realm games where they introduce a new theme, a new narrative of that locale, right? So the Antarctica locale, obviously would involve, the arms race of the rest of the nations, right? So it just makes sense and it works. I think it was a brilliant idea, a way of bringing that stuff. So yeah, I think I can't wait for the Thundercats. We did see the they look like the 3D printed versions. So
Yeah.
obviously before molding and stuff, so they were 3D printed Thundercat kittens on someone's desk. I don't remember. Anyone else remember that?
Crap. Be right back.
So I can't wait for those. I think Mike Pierce, he's also not. He's like me, not patiently waiting, but I mean, I can't wait for those guys to come out. I mean, again, that's more of, I just need them, not really.
Yeah, you necessarily don't have you're going to play with them, but you just need them.
Yeah, I just need them.
Yeah, I'd like
Same
to
with
see
the Ghost Hunters. I got the Ghost Hunters. They're in various stages of work in progress, and that's not because I'm playing Enlightened. But thankfully, they actually might see some play just because
the agents.
they're agents.
Yeah.
So I might take some with my my preferred posse in Infernal Investigations. I might bring along the Portal Master and give my my lawman access to 2 Portal Masters instead of just 1.
Yeah, really, after seeing some of Roberto's sketches, that he's done either on Facebook that he's posted or Take a look at his sketchbook at like some of the last cons I've seen him at. Anything in that book. If they want to produce anything in that book, I'd be happy because his art style, I really love his art style.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some sketches that I mean, that Stewart's teased like privately
Mm-hmm.
that I can't even talk about that I would love to see. I mean, the stuff that I've been discussing since they started the company, what the new Iron Horses. I can't wait for those to happen.
Yeah.
Uh, and Eric, didn't you see some of that stuff at Gen Con?
Yeah. Yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. I've seen some of it as well. Stuart's very funny when you meet him and he's got his phone with him. He's like, let me show you this. And he starts pulling stuff up on the phone that must be in like a Dropbox or something.
Right. And he's like, don't tell me.
And he's like, don't tell anybody.
like for how long you have to hold on to that.
Yep. You're like, you know what we do in connection to Exodus, right? I want to get like press credentials or something.
Right.
I tried that for us that time we went to PAX. Tom tried to get us a press pass.
Didn't they tell us go away?
Yeah, pretty much. It was pretty early in the podcast, so I don't think we had enough. We weren't big enough to hit their radar, I guess.
Are we big enough now?
Probably not. They tend to give that stuff to people that cover like everything.
Yep.
Oh boy, I went through the primer quick with him.
I'll tell you, the one other game I've been looking at is
Good one.
Legion
Which
for
one?
Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I noticed today. I was looking at the Mandalorian squad, and they had the little bunker and
Yep.
that stuff. I was like, ooh, that looks neat.
Yep.
Benji had a
So
good
far,
one for you.
I've succeeded in staying away.
Yeah, that's probably good. Benji said a good one for you, Brian. Bass Reeves posse.
Yeah. There's virtually been no teases about what that's going to entail.
Yeah.
Well, I figure it's going to have some Warrior Nation pieces and an Apache Kid. So that's something else I'm curious about. When you see there's a posse box out that has a particular character, and that character is a mainstay in some other posse as well. When that posse box comes out, do you think they're going to start repeating and packaging that character in more than one box?
I don't know.
Because I believe Apache Kid is already in another posse box.
Yeah, he's in, I want to say Billy's.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he's obviously kind of an important piece of a Bass Reeves box. So I would be interested to see what they do with that.
Right. Whether he's going to be in two boxes at the same time.
Either in two boxes at the same time or maybe an alternate sculpt.
Now, yeah, they could do that. Like, so I think it came up when they were like talking about Virgil showing up in Meat Grinder.
Mm-hmm.
So then when the Tombstone Posse box comes out, he's not going to be in that box.
Yeah, that'd make no sense.
So what we'll see a new version of him.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'd really like to see what they decide to do.
Oops, I'm getting out of camera here. Holy cow. So many rivets and
Isn't it funny? Even just getting primer on it, all of a sudden you see those things start popping out.
oh my gosh, yeah. And there's so many little crevices that I'm jamming this brush into. I'm glad I left him separate from his base. I'd never be able to do these legs. What the heck? Windows popping open. Yeah, I've kind of avoided Legion, Brian, for the same reasons that you probably have.
Right? Just scared to get started in it.
Scared to get started down that road, because that's how I was with Armada too. You know, I played X-Wing, but I saw
the main
Armada.
reason I didn't was shame on them for changing the scale. You know, I just dropped serious money on 3 different box sets for Imperial Assault.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then and plan to pick up the other 2 boxes, and then all of a sudden, boom, Legion. What? It's a different scale? You bastards. You know, it's like, come on. They didn't need to do that. They just could have kept, Imperial Assault and then start just producing the models separately like they're doing. Because they already had the skirmish rules in Imperial Assault. You know? So I think that was a crap move. So yeah, that's the main reason I didn't buy in at the beginning.
Yeah, they've got some pretty nice stuff out now. I'm really liking the clone stuff.
Did you buy some yet?
I have some on order, and I have a tank that I built for it. It's the clone trooper tank, and that's all I've got so far. And I've built and primed it. That's all as far as I've gotten on that.
Yeah.
Because I bought a couple of box sets that I'm waiting on.
So what'd you buy?
Just for the troop builders. So if you get the starter sets, they're actually the best way to like build troops. It's the best deal is to just buy starter sets. So I bought 2 starter sets, and I ordered them through my local shop, who is waiting on getting them in.
So are you going to build both, or are you picking a side?
Well, I'm definitely picking a side. I'm building clones.
Okay, so you bought the new starter.
Yes. So I'm building clones, and my son may take the clankers.
Roger, Roger.
Yeah.
See, and if I bought in, I would want the Rebel and Empire sets.
Right. And they're all playable against each other and stuff. I just I really liked the Clone Wars cartoon. I really liked Rebels. So I really kind of like that whole, to me, like Captain Rex is the guy.
Right.
So that's that's really what pushed me towards clones was when that they've got Captain Rex as one of the character sets you can buy.
Right. See, and that's what the reason I was asking is if you were going to offload the other half.
I could possibly see doing it. It depends on whether my son actually plays or not.
But your plan is to use the side of the boxes that I would use. So
Right.
see, that's
And
when they did the Clone Wars box set. The biggest problem with that is it's like, are you going to have a lot of people who want to be clankers?
in my area there are actually.
Really?
Yep. There's a lot of people who like the Roger Rogers.
Huh.
So
What's wrong
well,
with
I guess to a certain extent also like they're really easy to paint comparatively.
it's like painting skeletons.
Yeah, pretty much. They to me they are the like the number one candidate for the dip. Paint them a color, dip them, hit some highlights, they're done.
Right.
You know, because that's just kind of what they are. So if you want to put together a quick army, that's probably going to be the easiest one to do. Also, I think droidicas. So we'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to do the clone side. And I'll see what happens with the flanker side. Three models primed. So after this, I'm going to promise myself to not waste time and get my stuff outside with the spray cans and done when the weather's nice. I have to say, this brush on primer is for the birds.
No. The birds. Let's see. We got anything?
Well, technically, yeah, that's how I primed these birds.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Dylan, for stopping in and checking it out. Dylan's one of my local players, my board game players, RPG players. Let's see. How long have we been going? Where's my clock?
It's almost midnight here.
All right. So we're coming up on 2 hours. I wasn't sure how long we were going to do these for you guys since, it's kind of just us working on stuff, you watching. Hopefully you guys are working on stuff with us. I'd say, let's go for about 10 more minutes. And then we'll go ahead and wrap it for the night since this is ending up to be about 2 hours of people watching us put primer on. Brian's at least painting.
Brian's the advanced class.
Yeah, so I did start doing some layering on her I guess the color scheme for her is the turquoise. So I did put some layers on her turquoise. I don't know if you guys were watching, you noticed I tried to use a base coat of the scurvy green, and it just did not work. I think it's separated so long since I've last used it that the dark side of the mix separated so bad, and it hadn't, me spinning it or shaking it as much as I had didn't reincorporate to keep it a dark color. So what was happening was it was drying like chalky. and it's dark. It's supposed to be a darker color, so obviously the color wasn't working, so I couldn't use it as a dark base. So I scrapped it and just went with I just took the Hydra turquoise from Army Painter, and then I just added black and used that as the dark color, and so then I built it up.
So what are these layers you speak of?
Well, so I started with the dark colors, and then I build up like from the black and turquoise mix. I then started adding just a little bit of turquoise to the mix of the black and turquoise, and just as I add a little more, I do a little bit of layering on the edges that I want highlights on, and I just build up over time with multiple layers. Typically, I go thin, so so it can be subtle layers. So as I did that, you can kind of see where some of the layers are, and obviously the lightest of the layers were put on the part right above at the top of that cloth. So you just use multiple layers and you just kind of build them up. And same with her top. You can see where just that top band across her chest has the highest light. So that would have been at that point. I would have used the pure turquoise to go across there, so it didn't have any of the previous shaded mix, and that gives it the brightest highlight. So layering 101.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you take your notes there, Tom?
So what I'm doing now is I'm doing the base coat of this daughter's primary color, which is going to be a gold. So I'm using Army Painter's Desert Yellow.
I like that color.
As the base for my yellow. So when I start doing my layering, I'll be layering some yellow in with the Desert Yellow. So I'll probably go with Army Painter Phoenix Flames, more than likely, as the color I'll start mixing with this one. As I talked about earlier in the thing, Tom, each one of these sisters and Alcon, their spirit animal is an eagle, but I went with a different breed of eagle for each one. So hers is the golden eagle. So obviously she's going to get the gold tabard.
Interesting.
Or the golden cloth.
Well, that sounds like a lot of work. I'm going to slop a bunch of paint on my guys and throw a wash on them.
3 colors dip.
3 colors dip is the way to go.
Well, I mean, obviously the fastest way to do the order is to order the Army Painter gunmetal spray and just spray them all gunmetal, and then go back over and do the gold highlights or the cloth highlights, and you're done, dude. I obviously did not do that.
I will not be doing that either. I'm supposed to be trying to learn to paint better. I'm going to try this layering stuff and this being better.
Right.
So yeah,
Well,
if you want, I have some of my order in progress. So here is one of my nicks, and I painted before I got these. I had finished a lot of my order, um, and so here's a comparison to, I guess, the leader of them.
Mhm.
Let's see if I can get these back in. So here's Oron, and his. You see his armor plate is like a dark metal,
Mhm.
but then I made these basic troops, right, that he leads. Theirs are a porcelain look, and I'd seen the studio when they did these. They had was it Angel? Uh, I can't
Geraldo's?
remember his last name. Yeah, he did their studio for versions for him, and he
Right.
did a porcelain armor. So I was like, "Ooh, that looks really cool." I'm not going to redo all my dudes, so these basic Corcoroli will get the porcelain, and then
Gotcha.
I'll keep all my named unique guys in various armor plated, like metal ish. So I went with his is he's like one of the dark. It's like a bluish gunmetal, and then he's got the brass and coppery uh, chest pieces and shoulder blades. So what I haven't finished on this basic troop, the porcelain's done. The metal, the gold is pretty much done. I think I need one more highlight on it. The cloth is just base coated, so I haven't done, and then I put a wash over it. So I haven't done any highlighting to it yet. And then the glowy bits haven't been done yet. Uh, so when you saw the Oran, all his squiggle lines and the scrolls were, had more white on top, so it makes them stand out. Like, so here's one of my luminant. Um, and you can see, if I can get it to,
Focus. Oh, there we go.
you see how the scroll work kind of is
Glowy.
got white on the tips, so it basically makes those little blue, look like glowy parts. And she's mostly done. I think the last step on her will be the blue cloth.
Neat.
Oh, and her chest needs some highlighting. So the metal, the silvery metals, I haven't highlighted completely yet. So I'll have to go in and do some of the silver highlights on it.
all right. Well, guys, we're just over 2 hours into our hobby craft night, working on our Posse Build Bonanza list. If you guys like this, give us a comment. Let us know what you think. Thank you for you guys that joined in to watch. If you guys kind of got in here a little late, you can watch this. We're going to put it up on YouTube, or you can always rewatch it on the Blackhoof Saloon's Facebook page. If you miss some stuff, you can go back to the beginning, and it's nice there. You can kind of fast forward and whatnot. And hopefully I'm going to listen to this because I have been recording it, see what it sounds like for audio. Maybe we'll put it up as an audio if you guys just want to listen to us, ramble on about painting and priming and all the other stuff we kind of went on about. But this is a start of us working on models. So if you guys are interested in any of our other podcasts, you can always find us, all our episodes on all the different podcast places, whether it's Podbean, Google Play, iTunes. I think we are in a couple other places. Just search us out there. I'm kind of spreading us out a little bit. We also have our episodes on YouTube, and we may have some new videos up on there. Brian kind of mentioned we may do an unboxing of something for that soon, but I'll post up a link for that if we get that done. Feel free to send us the comments or questions, whether it's about these live hobby streams or anything else that we're working on, to blackhoofsaloon@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Discord. Tom's always on that. That's actually in the Wild West Exodus, isn't it, Tom?
What do you mean?
Our Discord channel for Blackhoof Saloon.
It's in the, not the official one. It's in the original one.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
If they just search out Blackhoof Saloon, it'll pop up, right? I'm not too familiar.
Oh, we have a channel inside that Discord. There's actually a Blackhoof Saloon channel.
Okay. Check us out on Twitter, Blackhoof Saloon, and Instagram, Blackhoof Saloon Podcast. But that's going to be about it for us tonight, guys. Keep an eye open for if we do another hobby night like this. We'll post something up as an event on Facebook, share it around, whether it's in the Dark Council on our Facebook group page. And like I said, thanks for hanging out with us for about 2 hours. Some of you guys have been, jumped in right away. Benji got the gold star because he was first today. But this is Eric saying, take it easy. When you guys are out there, to remember to ride with the sun at your back and always roll those big crits. If you guys want to say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Howdy, everybody. See y'all later.
Come on, Brian.
Yeah!
There we go.
Thanks for stopping by the Blackhoof Saloon, y'all. We hope you enjoyed your visit. Feel free to get a hold of us with comments or questions via the interwebs, and shoot us a telegraph at blackhoofsaloon@gmail.com. You can also find us on the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Music for the podcast was provided for use by Ross Bugden and can be found at one of his YouTube channels, Ross Bugden Music or Ross Bugden Composer. Until your next visit, ride with the sun at your back and always roll those big crits.